Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome into another episode of the BeBall Jones podcast. Of course, I'm your host, BeBall Jones, and I'm rolling solo, so you know I have an interview for you. I'm not going to, drag it out. I'm going to get straight to it. Welcome in the beautiful Miss Jasmine Brown to the podcast. What's going on?
Oh, hello, how are you? Good,
I am great. How you doing?
I'm good.
So, how do you like introduce yourself to people? Like, so, hey, I am B. I am a basketball trainer and podcaster. How you doing? How do you introduce yourself?
And it's real generic. I was like, hey, Jasmine here. I'm a media, social media for Bleacher Report, highlight her. It's like, I don't know, it's like so generic. I need to work on
But
that.
yeah, because that's not like just a little thing, especially like in the sports and hoop culture. Like it's Bleacher Report, like it's
Yeah,
up there. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
you
I
might have
never
to
thought
be.
about it.
Why? How do you not think about it? It's like
If I introduce myself, I just say Jasmine. Because for the most part, if I am meeting someone like on from Twitter or Instagram, they kind of already know who I am. So I was like, oh, hey, it's Jasmine.
okay, I get that. I get that.
Yeah. But that's something to think
So
about.
okay, that's true. So can you explain like a little more detail? What exactly do you do for Bleacher Report?
Yeah, so I'm a social programmer for the women's platform. We're technically the sister platform to House of Highlights. So the platform name is HighlightHer, where we highlight women's sports. Doesn't matter which sport. We've done anything from cricket to Gaelic football, gymnastics, basketball, you name it. Sometimes we'll be on site, like I am today. I'm currently in Nashville, Tennessee, to cover the U.S. Women's National Team. They're qualifying for the World Cup this year, so we'll do programming and content creation on site too.
Mm. So when like I know this is fairly new. So when did all of this like kind of start for you exactly?
Yeah, it started in 20, well, for Bleach Report.
Yeah.
Yeah, it started in 2020. So September of 2020. And a friend Ari, shout out Ari, she's the founder of Highlight Her. And she brought me on. And this was after 6 months of not having work in the pandemic. I was with ESPN for
Hmm.
2019, and then pandemic hit, lost my job. And yeah, so 6 months later, I was at Bleacher Report, which is a blessing. I went from ESPN to Bleacher Report, two powerhouses. And yeah, I've been just working on women's sports ever since. So it's been
Hmm.
coming up on my third year.
That's a very good lateral step from ESPN to Bleacher Report. Like most people, don't have that experience. So it's pretty dope.
At all. But it took a while though. It took a while for me to even get to that lateral.
Okay, so let's explain or go through what got you to ESPN. So how did that happen? What did that?
So I went to the University of Maryland,
Hmm.
and yeah, my story is really unique. I didn't even get my degree in journalism. I got it in history because
Mm,
I, for the life of me, I can do any other math, but I cannot do algebra. I cannot get out of algebra to save my life. And to
mm,
get into the journalism program, you have to do gateway courses, and math is one of them. And it was an algebra course. I've already completed the other stuff, but I had to do an algebra course. Couldn't get
mm,
out of it. And even one of the journalism classes, you had to get a 100% on a math test to
mm.
pass the class. I mean, I did do that, but I've never heard of you having to get 100% to pass the class.
Me
Um,
neither.
I never heard of it. But I was able to, even though I couldn't get into the program, I made myself available, and we had symposiums and panels and things like that. So I was always in that building. Kevin Blackie-Stone from ESPN, he was a professor there in adjunct, and I kept going to his stuff, and I introduced myself to him, and it came to the point that even he had a class that was full, and it was for journalism students, but because we developed that relationship, he was like, "Yo, you can just come in." in the
Mm,
class. I was just around there so much. I'm like, I want to get into this, even though I'm not a major.
mm,
And then George Solomon, he was the head of it. He's an older guy, and he has a Rolodex. But I made sure, I was always in his office, and if I had an article, I'll give it to him, and things like that. So I did that, coupled with covering a lot of sports around Maryland, so the football team, basketball, lacrosse. I was doing like all that stuff, and um, as family tragedy happened, I got a little depressed. So it affected my grades. So I actually had to spend a semester off because my grades just kind of slipped. So
mm,
with that, I actually started my own sports website.
mm,
And yeah, so I was like, if I'm not in school right now, I'm not really doing anything. So I went to like a local college, just picked up 2 courses, but then I had my sports website, and I was just covering stuff in the area in Maryland.
mm,
Since I wasn't doing anything, just building up my resume, and that's when I ended up covering the Mystics, the
mm,
WNBA team, Capital City Go Go, which is a G League team, and I just started making my connections around there, and I built up my resume. And when it was time for me, because before I applied for the same position at ESPN 3 times, didn't get it, and after doing all that stuff, getting my resume, when I finally applied in 2019, I was able to get it. So that was my
mm.
journey and how I got there.
So you applied in 2019. So you just started working there and then got let go.
Yeah, it was
Dang, that's even
only,
tougher.
only 10 months. And it was crazy because I worked so hard. I was like 19, like I want to get to ESPN. I'm working hard. Like I'm telling my friends, I'm like, all right, y'all, I have a goal I have to meet. I want to get to
Yeah.
ESPN. So if I cannot hang out, I'm sorry, I got to go. So
Mm,
that's what happened. And I mean, 6 years of work just to be there for 10 months was definitely heartbreaking. But, listen, after 6 months, it's good on your resume. So I couldn't
yeah.
complain about that.
Whew. That's very interesting. Like you said, it was unique. So
Mhm.
tell me back to the website. Like where did that idea come from to start your own website?
I mean, I at that time I was writing a lot, so I was already in that. I already knew how to format and write articles, so just, it was just a thing of I just wanted to do it myself. I was doing it
Mm,
for other publications, and I was like, you know what? I can just do this for myself. It will be for free. I'm gonna have to sacrifice a little bit, but it's gonna be my
you know
own
how that
thing.
is.
Yeah. So then also with that, I did start my own YouTube channel, and I just got some athletes around campus, and I just interviewed them, just quick 45 seconds to a minute. And then I went to even high school games and found Maryland recruits.
Mm,
Um, and I'm like, hey, can I just do a quick interview with you? Yeah, I mean, I built that up. One of the people I actually ended up interviewing was Paige Beckers. I went to
wow.
yeah, way before UConn even came into the picture. It was
Mm,
a Capital Classic. They had it for the boys, but they had the first tournament for the girls. It was at St. John's High School in DC, and Paige Beckers was there, AZ Fudd was there, and I got those two. And nobody was really around them, but I
mm,
ended up getting those two, and it's still on YouTube. I can send you the link, but it was really cool that I got those two way early, before
mm,
all the buzz, and things like that. And then those other athletes that I just interviewed that wasn't getting that shine, but wanted to highlight them too. So I mean, it was some grassroots work, but it was fun, and it helped where I am today. So a little bit of a little hustler, but it paid off.
yeah, I respect the grind because I know what it feels like to do stuff for free and literally what I'm doing right now. So I definitely understand where that's coming from.
Mhm.
But Paige, before she was like Paige, like
Yeah, I think she was like a sophomore, I would say.
it's
Yeah,
tough.
she was like a sophomore. Yep.
So how did the interview go? Like, was it did it do like numbers or anything? Because it was still before she was like Paige. So how did that go?
Yeah, so I think the numbers were like okay. I think it had like 200 views, but it was funny because after UConn, I guess people started typing her name into YouTube,
Hmm.
and the link her and Az, and they both went over, I think, 1,000 or 2,000 views. So it I saw this jump, and it was maybe 3, 4 years later, maybe. So it was like a
Mm,
random spike in views after. So people were definitely typing her name in the comment on YouTube.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
So, did you play sports growing up? Like, where did the interest in sports come in? Like, why sports?
yeah. So I played. I mean, well, I was a dancer. I mean, I did think dancers are athletes. So, I did dance. Did like little flag football in college. In high school. And then I played rugby at Maryland also.
Mm,
So
okay.
yeah, I played rugby. That was really fun because I love football. That's like my favorite sport.
Mm,
And my friend was like, "Yo, Jasmine, the women's rugby team, they need help. Why don't you try out?" I was like, "Okay, I'll try." And then I did it. I was a forward lock, so it's kind of equivalent to like a running back.
okay.
Um, yeah, it's like they have like forwards and backs. We had to do a whole nother segment to explain rugby because it's hard to explain. But but yeah, my position was pretty much like a running back. So
Mm,
I did that. But I mean, I think my love for sports pretty much came. I would have to say in 2004, the Patriots in the Super Bowl. I don't know why.
mm,
I just watched that. Ended up watching that game. Oh, because I was trying to be like one of the guys, I guess. And I was like, oh, okay. So I started getting like little trading cards. I think Jeff Saturday was like my first. Jeff Saturday was my first trading card.
of all the players, Jeff Saturday.
Yeah, Jeff
Wow.
Saturday, and yeah, I was just kind of like, okay, let me watch football. I saw the Patriots, and then in 2006, I saw Tony Romo, and then that's what made me a Cowboys fan. I don't know why. Tony Romo, I just saw it was
Mm,
something about him that I liked, and yeah, just ended up just following through all that all that NBA. Well, NBA that was kind of probably prior, so I saw Kobe and things like that. Um, but then, even throughout that whole time, the WNBA just never crossed my mind at all.
mm,
Um, I was watching football, yeah, watching football, NBA, and then it was college sports that came maybe my senior year. I was like
mm,
2011, and then I ended up watching women's college basketball, but I never watched the W. So my love for the W ended up happening in 2016 when Pat Summit, she passed. Candace Parker played there. So
mm.
the year the Sparks won the championship, Candace Parker was like, "This is for Pat." So I was looking, I was like, "Oh, this is dope." That was the only game I saw was when they won the championship. And I was like, "Oh, I need to cover that." So fast forward when I got that website, I did the website in 2016. I ended up covering the Mystics that following season, and I
Mm.
haven't, and that's been to what 2017, so it's been about 6 years that I was covering that. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of sprinkled in there, kind of here and there for sports, but it really didn't start kicking in until I would say 2011, before college.
Okay. That's interesting how you were around sports this whole time, but the WNBA was not like there for you. And like, so the girls I train with basketball trainers, so like the girls I train, they like don't know the girls that often either. So
Mm.
for you being a lady, like what is the gap between a young lady knowing sports and the WNBA? Like what is that gap happening to where the connection's not there?
You know, I think it's promo. I think it's promo. The I knew of the Mystics mainly in part because around DC they had murals of the teams, and the
Hmm.
Mystics did have a mural, so I did see it, so I knew of them, but I never saw like commercials for them. And it just I don't know, this to connect just wasn't there. The Wizards always had commercials or just something going on, or the Commanders at the time when they're the Redskins, you just saw that, and Nationals, you just saw it. You just never saw it for the W. So I just think I don't know. I think promotion is definitely marketing was definitely lacking around that time.
Okay, so if the commissioner called you, said, "Hey, Jazz, we need you for the WNBA because, like you just said, we got to do better for our marketing. We're gonna put you in charge of social media and marketing, whatever." What is like the first thing, the first three things that you're gonna do to say, okay, we're going to market WNBA and this direction we're gonna go? Like, what would you do if you were the WNBA marketer? Like, what is your plan?
I mean, get commercials back. I mean, I mean, and it sucks because you had like Kyla Pratt who had those W commercials with Lisa
Mm-hmm.
Leslie and Cheryl Swoops in them. Um, you have to find a kid prodigy, something, kind of have like a little reboot or something. But I think having a commercial would definitely be something that people will watch.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then also to just finding ways to be interactive on TikTok and Twitter and Instagram. Just people love it. People are always on their phone. If you have a dope content piece that I don't know, I mean, I say take Asia Wilson. She's pretty much the face right now. So I mean, just anything, anything that can engage fans. I think that would help. But then I think the biggest thing that will bridge the gap between high school, I'll say most of them, college, they pretty much know, but like high school, I think they're going to have to go back and just go back and just introduce themselves and just talk to high school athletes. Um, I mean, it probably, I don't, I'm only 20, I'm only 29, I'll be 29 next month. So I was only 2 years old when the W came out. So I don't know. I mean, I'm looking back, the marketing was top tier back then. So it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely a disconnect between that 2004 2005 ish years.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a different time. So you might have to work backwards and just, talk to them, introduce them, watch film, something. Make it a history class. And for me, I'm a history major. I'm all about going back in the past. So, people do it in the NBA all the time. So, why
Yeah.
not do it to the W? I would love to just introduce history and just bring it back so people can be up to speed with it.
Yeah, I think Asia Wilson was probably be the best bet because like, what does she not have that you would
Right.
want from the face of the W? Like, she
Exactly.
obviously can play. She's fresh off a championship. She has the personality that she's just likable. So, like, why isn't she promoted more? Why isn't she
Right.
out there more? And she's posting everything. So, like, why not collab with that? It's not like Kawhi Leonard, who doesn't want to be anywhere, doesn't want to do
Right.
anything. She's out there and she has the personality. She wants to show it. So for
Right.
me personally, I don't understand why they're not doing more of that. So maybe you can explain because you behind marketing, you know a little bit more than I do. Like, what is the issue with promoting the players now? Like, I don't get that.
I am not going to lie to you. I do not know either.
Mm.
We have been trying to crack this code for years. I don't know. Maybe they just need new marketing. I am not sure. I'm not sure. I tried. I even tried myself. I was doing content.
Mm.
That that blew up. I would have loved to have done stuff, but it just never happened. So
I don't know.
hate to
Maybe
see.
they need to listen to this podcast episode and they'll be like, man, you know what, Jasmine's right. We just listen to her and do what she says.
Listen, somebody listen, because yeah, yeah, it's an issue.
Yeah, big time. Because it don't make sense for me to be around girls that know basketball, like basketball, but they can name LeBron, Steph Curry, KD, right off NBA players, but they can't really tell me any WNBA players. Like, that's the issue. If I'm the commissioner, I'm over that sport. I don't like that. So
Exactly.
I don't know. I'm just
Yeah.
a trainer podcaster, so I just stay in my little lane. Yeah, man. So um the next intriguing part to me is journalism. So why journalism of all the fields to go into around the sport?
Oh, I mean, at the time, I really wanted to do what everybody else is doing. I saw people asking questions, and I was like, oh, okay, I want to ask questions too. So that's what I was doing. But instead of doing it on video, I turned it into writing. So I asked questions, interview, and then I was writing for like Sentinel papers, like outlets.
Hmm.
So I actually had to go there and, you know, ask these high schoolers like questions and then turn into an article, and then they'll publish it in the newspaper. So, yeah, I mean, it was cool, asking questions and writing. But then after a point in time, I did get tired of writing, and that's why I switched to video. And then that's how I ended up doing more production stuff as well. I started just making like mixtapes of NBA and NFL and stuff like that. So I was like doing little things like that. And that's pretty much what I did at ESPN. So I did highlights for Sports Center. That's what I did there.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was doing that, and then they put me on a lot of digital work. So I was doing uh, like when you go on the app and you'll see the sports highlights and stuff like that, like like the big college game. I'll do that, and I think that right there prepped me to end up getting that job in social media and what I do now.
Hmm.
Just kind of like quick quick editing, cutting and things like that. I mean, social media is a different beast. It's nowhere near close. It's nowhere near close, but it just gave me the I guess a starting point on how to handle social media.
Mm. So I
Yeah.
went from asking questions to doing video to now basically doing video full time, but just in a different lane almost.
Right.
That kind
Yeah.
of right. Okay.
hmm Yeah. I
So,
thought I was going to be a writer my whole life, and then I was like, I don't feel like writing. I think I did an article that had 21,000 words, and I said, yeah, I'm not doing this ever again. I was burnt out. I was so burnt out. I said, and the pay wasn't that great either. I'm like, I'm not writing 21,000 words just to get paid $22. Like, that's just not going to happen. Yeah. So I was like, I'm going to try something else.
yeah. So you couldn't see yourself doing any type of like journalism again? Is it social media for life, or is it like what could you see yourself doing?
That remains to be seen. I don't know. I'm not sure. Um, Definitely not social media for life, because this industry is like woo. So I think I mean I would like to go into production.
Mm.
I do like producing. I do want to like produce documentaries for stories that haven't really been told. So, I mean, in a sense, to get that information, I would have to turn back to a journalist.
Mm-hmm.
So, asking questions, getting
Yeah.
information out of people. It's probably a library of never before seen footage, of things that nobody would know about. So, of course, I have to put my journalism hat back on, which I wouldn't have a problem with, but that will just steer me into how I would want, the documentary to be. So,
Mm.
yeah.
Okay. So when you say production, you're really saying more of like not necessarily independent, but more like documentaries and stuff, and not more of the TV production or movie production type side. Or could you do both of them?
Yeah, 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 mostly documentary, more so that side, more like long form, yeah, long form type of series type stuff. Well, I won't say series because I would like to do different projects, but
Hmm.
if it's like a 3-part, 4-part type series of it, yeah, stuff like that. But be distributed like on a television network, or I guess Paramount or HBO Max, something like that. Yeah.
Mm, that's interesting. So would you want to do it like as an independent type thing, like your own company or whatever, or would you rather like go under a company and just kind of work under them and do your own thing?
Yeah, I would like to do that. Just do my own thing. I think that if just start off, I think that would be the best, so I can learn.
Hmm.
And then if I see myself, possibly getting my own, then I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Mm. I
Yeah.
respect that.
Thank
So what'd
you.
you think about the Jordan documentary, the Last Dance?
Oh, of course, it was great. That was great. I mean, I watch all of those, 30 for 30, the Malice in the Palace one. Like, I've watched all
Mm.
those because that's something that I've always wanted to do. I wanted to do actually that at 17. And I did say and express to my mom one time, I said I want to end my career doing something like that. And I was 17 when I said that. So I wanted to end it. I said, I don't know what's going to happen in between, but I do want to end telling stories in documentary form.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been over 10 years and I still feel that same way. So um, I do watch documentaries a lot, just kind of looking at the cadence of how things are and seeing what a good one is. And, the way that The Last Dance was really good. And then my favorite one, which actually really got me into it, was the Fab Five.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's still I don't know why, it's still my all time favorite 30 for 30. And that is what got me, and that was what really got me into wanting to do stuff like that.
So from your production eye, what
Hmm.
did you see about The Last Dance that was so special? Because for us as hoopers, we saw it as one thing, but I know like so when I watch a game as like my basketball mind, I might see stuff differently from how
Hmm.
the average fan might see it. So from your production eye, how did you watch that compared to how we would have saw it? So, like, what did you see that was like so special and unique from your point of view?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I like never before seen footage.
Mm-hmm.
So, you can tell a story over and over again. Everybody knows what happened. But then you see things that nobody's ever seen before, and it puts into perspective why XYZ happened.
Yeah.
So it's just really, they'll you always hear people just talking about these events, but actually seeing it, them finding that footage, finally putting it there for us to see. And it really had everybody's attention because everybody was in the house at that time. It
Mm-hmm.
was big independent, in the heavy in the pandemic. So um and even the order of it, just the way they told the story. Sometimes they went forward, then they went backwards. I mean, it was just the way that they told it, it was unique. It wasn't like a full kind of like, okay, A, B, C. It was kind of like A,
Yeah.
D, E, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so but it still all came together, and it bridged, the way that it was supposed to. I think they probably could have done, what was it, six? Was it six, seven?
I
Can
think
they
it was
probably,
6.
yeah, I think they could have squeezed a seventh one,
Oh yeah.
um, but yeah, I just think even like they had like little uh graphic cards explaining what we were about to see. It's like little things like that because sometimes they just boom going to the next. Uh, they're going to like the next, I guess, happening or whatever. But they were like,
Mhm.
okay, boom, card. You see the words up there. This is what happened, and then go into it. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was like little things like that. It's kind of order, structure, never before seen stuff, and things like that. I think that's what I liked about it.
Yeah, I do appreciate the never seen before stuff because, like you said, it adds a different perspective to things that we might have known about, but just never fully known about. So, like,
Mhm.
I don't remember it exactly, but let's say like the Steve Kerr, Michael Jordan thing. Of course, they're telling the story before, but there's a clip that they show that's like, oh, that's what happened to make this thing. Okay, now that makes a lot more sense.
Right,
So,
exactly.
or like the whole Rodman's thing, like Rodman went to Vegas, and in
Yeah,
our mind, we just like, what? That don't make sense. But then feels like that's Rodman, bro. Jordan said he don't care. Phil said he don't care. Everybody else is like, all right, cool.
right,
But from our view, we just like that's such what he come back and grab 30 rebounds that game. So all right, whatever.
right. Yeah,
So I think that's just the unique thing.
yeah, for
And
sure.
then, like you said too, like the format of it, they just went forward and backwards, and it kept the yo-yo string going to where it wasn't just like a regular cadence like most documentaries too. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that was made it a little unique and special. Besides the whole story, like that details of it that made it special.
Right. Yep. Definitely agree.
See, I might need to be your assistant, help you out, do your thing.
You know what? I wouldn't be opposed.
I get you with my assistant, and we'll talk the details later. Don't worry about it. I got
Set
you.
it up. I got you.
So mental toughness is one of the biggest things that I know pretty much every coach preaches to the players, and also one of the biggest factors in the players' game is the mental toughness. So I know that a lot of coaches wish their players would be mentally tougher, and they struggle with teaching them and understanding, what mental toughness is to apply it to the game. So to help you guys out, I wrote a whole ebook breaking down what mental toughness is, different factors that make up what mental toughness is, and different ways that you can apply it to your life and your game, because it's a good blend of the player and the person, of how both sides of you can grow in your mental toughness. So I broke it down in the ebook, the Mental Toughness Playbook. The whole ebook is about 50 pages, a little less than 50 pages, easy to read, a simple breakdown of what mental toughness is, different factors and different areas in it that impact your mental toughness, and how you can grow and develop in there. So if you're interested in it, it's in the description below. So go ahead and look in the hit that link and invest into yourself by investing into your mindset and mental toughness. Because I personally believe that your brain and your mind is so much powerful than you give it credit. So invest into your mindset, and then your body will follow afterwards. So the Mental Toughness Playbook, get the ebook below. If you tune into it, thank you. I appreciate it. If not, it's fine. Get back to the rest of the episode. See you later. So yeah. Um so going back into, journaling and kind of what you're doing now. Um what made like the social media route so compelling as opposed to like TV, or going that direction? Because you, like you said, you were at ESPN. So was it something that just naturally came to you, or you just wanted to do it? Like, why social media rather than TV?
Yeah, I wanted to go into TV. I gave myself the age of 33. I wanted to do college game day. I wanted to just go. I like the college. I love the college atmosphere. The rambunctiousness. And I went to Maryland, and I don't know if you saw last night. We upset Purdue and stormed the court. So I just love stuff like that. Even though I'm almost 30, like that just drives me. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Um, so I always want to just be in that college atmosphere. So I wanted to be on television for that. But yeah, the pandemic happened. It just derailed everything. So, um, yeah, I mean, the opportunity just came about in September for Highlight Her, um, and that was just a new thing for me. That was new for me. I never thought that I would be in social media.
Mm.
So that was something that I had to learn because, I was watching posts, you see a highlight, but I just never knew fully what went into posting that. So, you always see it, but you never think, oh, okay, well, production behind all this and how you put things together. Just like when I was at ESPN watching Sports Center, you just watch it, but you just never knew, you know, what you what went into it. So
Mm.
I'll give an example. When I was at ESPN, I had to, do a highlight, but I had to write a script. I had to write a script of the game and moss it. It's called you moss it means you just put it into like a channel, so the right network can show it on the right ESPN network. Because it could you can moss it in the wrong one and it can go to like ESPN News. So you didn't want that one. You have to make sure it goes to the one that went to ESPN or two. Um, we had to log all of what was happening in our games. So it'd be like LeBron shoots a three, hits a three, or LeBron turns the ball over. Like we had to log all of that stuff. Um, and it was just a lot. It was a lot that went into it just to show 30 seconds of a highlight. So
Mm.
it was a lot that went into that. And then, now for social media, it's like you have to brainstorm, okay, how are we going to package this? Because, it's be like a story that come
Mm.
out. Okay, Brittany Griner. How are we going to package this? We have to be like careful with how we're going to package it, not step
Mm.
on any toes or make sure the wording is right, because it's going to live on that platform. Television, you're going to see it, but unless recorded, only your eyes are going to see it. But
Mm.
social media, it lives on that platform forever. So you want to make sure that wording is right, spelling is right, the captioning is right. Make sure you're tagging the right people because tagging
Mm.
tag the wrong account. And sometimes Instagram is just wonky like that. Where you tag
Yeah.
the name and then there'll be a whole other name and you look and you like, and I've noticed because it happened before. People in the comments, they click on the tag and they will let you know. They let you know that the tag is wrong. Y'all tagged the wrong person. I'm like, okay, well, dang, I'll fix it. Like, it take about 20 seconds to fix it, but they look, it's like you don't think that you think they're just looking, but they click everywhere. And
Mm,
social media, you have to be on your A game. You have to be on your A game because one slip up and it's over. Well, I don't say it's over, but they'll remember for sure.
yeah.
But yeah, I think social media is you have to put more care into it, to make sure that um, your content is as clean as possible.
So can you don't have to, but can you talk about like the biggest or funniest like mistake that you had that was just like, oof, oh man, like, and boss
Yeah,
called you, hey, can you tell me about this post that happened? So can you, if you care to, I would like it. I'm pretty sure they would like it. Just if you mind sharing one of those for me.
yeah. So it was a gymnast. Her name's Nia Dennis. She went crazy at UCLA, and she I think she did a flip, like a tumble or a flip at I forgot I think it was the Met Gala. I think it was the Met Gala, and she did it on the stairs. And at that time, YouTube Shorts was just not coming out. So I had put it. It was put on Instagram, but I was tasked with putting it on Twitter. So I put the video up, uploaded, create the caption, you know, cool. I didn't really look at it. I just kind of went about my business
Hmm.
because the platform at that time it was really small. We only had about 290 something subscribers at the time. So fast forward, nothing happens. Fast forward maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks later, I get a text and he's like, "Hey, I don't understand this caption. Why was it the caption?" So the caption originally was supposed to say, "Nia Dennis shuts it down." I accidentally put an I where the U was supposed to be.
Ooh.
Yeah. I never went back to look at that post. And I say my body was shaking. It was shaking. It was shaking because I'm like, I don't know if the higher ups saw this. I don't know, but yeah, oh, it was embarrassing. It was very embarrassing to have the autocorrect to that. I mean, that's not even in my autocorrect, so I don't even know how that even happened. But yeah, I owned up to it. I'm like, I did it, but
Hmm.
that right there, it let me know I have to make sure that captioning is right because and Instagram is forgiving. You can go in and edit it. Twitter
Hmm.
and YouTube is not. Like you cannot, or and TikTok, you cannot edit it. Um, so yeah, that happened, and there was another one that actually just happened recently in last month actually. I recreated a soccer highlight mixtape for the NWSL draft, and I copied and pasted the directions. The caption was in there, but I forgot to delete the directions, and
Mm.
everything was just in there. Everything was in the caption. It was like, yeah. So for caption, I was thinking that's really what it said. Like,
Yeah.
just for the caption, I'm thinking maybe we can do. That's literally that first line. So that's what everybody saw. I'm like, yeah. So I had to own up to that again, and yeah, I'd be like, yo, this is my bad. But I mean, for the most part, I haven't made like crazy, crazy blunders, but those two definitely
Mhm.
stuck out the most.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to the second one. Because you have to rinse and repeat so many things and so often to where you forget to tweak little stuff here and there, and it's just like, oh man, it's just that one time you just.
Yeah,
Luckily, like you said, it wasn't nothing major, nothing too big, so that's good for you.
because I've seen the blunders of some Twitter accounts, NFL accounts, and you're just like, it's bad to the point that they have to delete it. Luckily,
Mm.
we have not gotten bullied into deleting stuff. Very glad about that. Because I would probably, well, you know what? I'm not gonna lie, we actually did.
Hmm.
We did. Now this one, I did not follow through with my gut feeling and discernment. So it was during the Olympics in 2021,
Mm.
and there was a graphic made for soccer, women's soccer. They beat the Netherlands, and the graphic wasn't really like the best taste. But I kind of, it was like it was 7 in the morning too, and I was like, I don't think we should post it. I don't know. I was like, I don't feel like, because it was the graphic. It was like kind of been taking away the medals from the Netherlands, but it wasn't like a dominant win.
Mm.
So yeah, so it was kind of like it was a kind of a poor taste, and yeah, we the whole other three platforms that posted it, we all got bullied into deleting it. I mean, I kind of deleted it before they all did because I was like, I don't like it, so I just deleted it. But the comments definitely were like, "Why would y'all do this?" So I was like, all right. Yeah, you know what? Whatever I was feeling in the beginning was right because I didn't want to post it, and the comments confirmed it, so I deleted it.
Mm.
But you know what I mean? Sometimes it happens. You mess up. There's graphics that are being made by all companies, and you think it hits, and it just doesn't. So it's not anyone's fault. Sometimes it's just creatively, you just think it's going to happen well and it just doesn't. And I mean, just delete it, honestly. People aren't really going
Yeah.
to, people will, I guess, remember, but they'll be, hey, remember you posted that? Nobody's really going to, unless it's really
Yeah.
bad. But yeah, I mean, it happens.
I think the other thing too is that well, most people don't know who actually posted. It's just like the business or the brand or the platform.
Right.
But
Mhm.
internally, that's where the
Yeah.
fire comes in because they
Yeah.
know, or most of them know. So,
Yeah. You know. That's why it hurts a
ah,
little bit more.
yeah. Wait, wait, hold on. Tell me, hold on real quick. I just got a quick question for you. All right, okay, look. So, where did you go? Like, what are you going after right now in your life? Right? Are you looking to make the team? Okay, you didn't make the team, but you're looking to figure out how to make the team coming up. Or maybe you made the team, but you're on the bench, you're not playing like you want to. Or maybe you're playing a little bit like you want to, but you're not a starter, or you're not finishing the games like you want to. Or maybe you're the player, but you're just not quite where you want to be as far as recognizing your county or maybe your conference or your state, whatever you're trying to be recognized at. Um, Whatever your goal is, I want you to forget about that. Like put it on the board or something, write it down in your phone and just put it somewhere and tuck it away. I want you to take that goal, throw it over there, and now I want you to write a new one, right? I want you to write PROGRESS. Progress. I want you to make progress your goal. Okay, so take that big goal that you have now and take it, put it in your back pocket, and just figure out how to make progress and work towards that goal. Because sometimes we get so caught up on the goal of the end goal where we want to be that we don't keep working forward and working towards that goal like we should be. So every day I want you to wake up and figure out how to just make progress. How can I be better today than I was yesterday? It's to do tomorrow. The same exact thing. Figure out how can I be better today than I was yesterday. It doesn't matter how good you are or what you did yesterday. It's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. Your goal today is to make progress, be better than you was yesterday. And so if you need a reminder about that, all I want you to do is to have a reminder. I want you to go ahead and get one of these hoodies. Or you get you a t-shirt. I got a couple options for you. So get you a hoodie or a t-shirt just to remind yourself, just to keep it as a memento to be like, man, today's goal is to make progress. My only goal is to make progress. Progress is the only goal. So if that fits you and you feel like you need to make progress to be your goal, go ahead and hit the link in the description below and invest into yourself. Invest into that reminder. Treat it like an alarm clock to remind you that you need to make progress. Make sure that you're focused and being intentional about the work that you had today. So progress is the only goal. Hit the description below to invest into yourself. It's not about me. Investing into yourself to remind yourself that progress is my goal for today. So that's enough for me, man. I hope I didn't interrupt you. Get back to the episode. So can you share like I guess I can't say when, but like a post that you created and it was like it made you feel good. You know what I mean? Like it was just like it was kind of heartwarming or whatever. It's just more of a victory for you that from a post that you created.
Yeah, I think I'll say I have maybe top three. So there was one that I did recently. I'll go backwards. So I just made like a random like highlight mixtape of the LSU South Carolina women's game
Mm-hmm.
that just happened on Sunday. And yeah, I just that day I just put it together and I was like, well, let's see how it goes because usually the promo kind of hype tapes type stuff just doesn't really do well on our page. But I was like, you know what? Let me just try. Is this game? People are like interested in this game. Let me just try. So I did it. It was about 20, I'll say 26 seconds. I just put like, this great theatrical cinema music. And then it was like Dawn clapping. And then it was Kim Mulkey, like she put her hands up in the air. And then I got footage of like Aaliyah Boston and Andrew Reese. And I put it together. And then it just faded to black. And then I just like put I put LSU versus South Carolina, and it's like Sunday at 3 p.m. whatever. So I put it on Twitter. I'm like, let's just try, see how it goes, and it went off. Like people were quoting,
Mm-hmm.
tweeting it, liking it. It got a crazy amount of views on Twitter, and then it did well on Instagram too, and then it did well on TikTok. So I mean, highlight mixes, and I mean, professionally done, still didn't even do well. But I'm just doing this in CapCut, the app on my
Mm-hmm.
phone, and it goes crazy. So that was definitely a win, and then the other one was actually inspiration that I saw at like 1 in the morning. So um, it was Asia Wilson. She was posing with Dizzy Wright, and it was like a cool like crossover moment with music and sports.
Mm-hmm.
So I came up with the idea to do an XXL uh, poster to bring in women's college basketball season. So I wanted to do the top 10 freshmen, and I had them on a XXL freshman cover. So I was working with our design team, and the good thing about it was that he's black, so like he already knew what I was talking about. I'm like, yo,
Yeah.
XXL. He's like, oh, I already know. So he sent one of the covers, and I was like, oh yeah, this is perfect. So he recreated it, had all of the athletes that I wanted on there, and yeah, I mean that post did amazing. Everybody loved it. It was different. People that wouldn't follow, they normally don't follow it. It was like, yo, this is dope. This is what women's basketball needs. Something that's for the culture, but also, in a sports kind of aspect. So
Mm-hmm.
that was probably one of my favorite things. And it was just because I saw Asia with Dizzy Wright. And I guess in a sense you would have to know, okay, who's Dizzy Wright? So it's like you have
Yeah.
to know, okay, he was also on XXL Freshman, and that's how I came up with that concept.
Mm-hmm.
So a picture just inspired that. Um, and then the last one, it was Dawn Staley. Um, her name is John the blank. Carolyn Peck piece that I did. So that was just an Instagram carousel. Like you just swipe throughout, just find out information. So she, Dawn Staley, she won the national championship, and she was talking about Carolyn Peck and how, she um, won hers, and she had a piece of her championship net, and she gave it to a bunch of different Black women coaches in the league, and Dawn did that as well. So she, I think last year was it? I think it was either last year or the year before. A bunch of Black head coaches in college, they opened up their piece of the net from 2017. Yeah, 2017 or 20, yeah, whenever the first season in South Carolina won.
Mm-hmm.
So she sent them all a piece of her net, and that's where her inspiration came from. So I just, compiled a lot of information. It was hard to find some pictures, but I really had to do some digging, just kind of find different places of where to get those pictures of Dawn and Carolyn together, giving her that piece of the net. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think it was a really nice piece to tell a story in picture, in words, but it still captivated the audience. So that was probably one of my, as far as telling a story in pictures and words, that was probably my favorite moment.
I think I remember that post too. Um, I'm pretty sure I liked it because that was pretty dope. Like
Yeah, it was
the,
really good. Yeah,
the
really good.
story itself.
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, you never seen that before, so.
Yeah, like Dawn has always been, a stand up woman, and like that story just adds to the story of what she's been about. And so
Hmm.
for you to portray her story and carry on, that was like almost like poetic justice in a sense, to where it's just like it just made sense to where that'll flow
Yeah,
together. So
yeah.
that was a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Um, so I do want to ask you about the DMV culture, because I was thinking about that like last week about how the culture up there is it's different. I don't want to say like better. It's just different because it's pretty unique in the sense that
Mhm.
it rivals the Los Angeles and the Chicago's and New York's, but it's not as highlighted as much. Not just sports, but like overall.
Mhm.
So like of course sports wise, you got college and pro, you have the WNBA team, you have all that covered. Music
Mhm.
wise, you legends. You got Wale, you got IDK, Missy, Pharrell, Timbo. Like you got that covered. And it's just like what makes the DMV so special as you being a person from there. Like outside looking in, of course, those are the top two things, and you have your other stuff around. But what makes the DMV so special to where it belongs in the category of the Los Angeles? Of course, you might not rival it as much, but it's in that lane or in the rim of that. So, what makes the DMV so special? In your point of view.
Oh man. I think it's just so different because you think of DMV, you think of DC, Maryland, and Virginia, but it's really a small circle. Like
Mhm.
it's like DC, Maryland, and Virginia, but it's like DMV. Like this is literally all that people really care about. And we have this running joke. We have our metro system, and it's like if your metro line runs throughout, you're considered a DMV. If your metro line does not go past a certain point, if you can't get there, you're not considered a DMV.
Mhm.
So that's just been like a running joke. It'll be like people who are like in out further west or further Virginia. They'd be like, I mean, it's part of DMV. No, you're not. You're not part of the DMV. If the metro does not go out there, you're not. So, um, yeah, this is kind of a fun thing. But I just think that it all is so close together,
Mhm.
and it's like kind of rare to have like three states that are just so close together that share the same thing. And even though like we do have our little differences, like DC, like, oh yeah, we don't claim y'all, like PG County, or PG County claim DC. At the end of the day, if somebody makes it, we're going to claim them. Like, I mean, even like if the Ravens does something, everybody's going, claim the Ravens, or like, I don't know about the Commanders. They need some work. But I just think even then, but even in 2012, RG3, won they won a division. I'm a Cowboys fan, so I hated to see it, but I love to see it because of the culture that everybody just coming together just to see that moment, and the whole area was just going up. I mean, go-go music was playing. I mean, it was just a sight to see. But I just think overall it's just, I don't know, it's just different. It's just I can't even really explain it because it was just so different. And I just think because the population is just so small, the amount of talent that have just come out of the DMV alone, I just think that's just the biggest highlight. I mean, you wouldn't think that much talent has been bred there, but it has been.
Mhm.
KD, Wale, I mean, even Issa and Yvonne Orji grew up here. So, it's just so many people that have either grew up here. I mean, Dave Chappelle, Martin. I mean, it's just so many people that are just here. Um, and it just speaks to, I guess our DNA. I don't know. This is a different strand of DNA in our system as to where we have this many people just cranking out, and then now we're moving out of the DMV and going to these different areas and then putting our mark in these places.
Hmm.
So it's like when something happens, everybody's like, "Oh, they're from where?" Even if you're not from here, you go to school here. We're still going, mark you because the girl that did sign language um, for Rihanna at the Super Bowl, she went to Bowie State University. She's from Philly, but she went to Bowie State. We still gonna claim you. So you went to school here, whatever. So I just think that us coming together always we're obnoxious with our fandom of our we're gonna let you know. We're gonna let you know we're from, PG County, DC. Like we're gonna let you know. So I think also that too, just coupled with, what we do just makes us
Hmm.
different. We're underrated. I think we're still underrated, forever underrated.
I have to agree, man, because like I said, y'all have talent. If you went across the board and just said talent for talent, like you guys are up there. Like, of course, you got certain people that just like LA is just it's LA, like
Hmm.
it's crazy. Texas
Hmm.
has Texas thing, New York has their thing.
Hmm.
But if y'all not up there, y'all are right there behind there. Like Chicago, it's Florida. Like y'all are
Yeah.
right there. Atlanta, y'all are in that category to where
Hmm.
y'all are considered a place that just has so much talent coming out of it and so much things going around it to where it's undeniable. Like you said, Dave Chappelle for me, that's my goat. That's my guy.
Hmm.
Like nobody touching Dave.
Right.
I love Wale. He's one of my favorite rappers. He can do no harm for me. Like genius.
Mhm.
KD, like y'all have immaculate talent, GOAT level talent coming from there. So you're not gonna get a complaint out of me from y'all. Like it's real.
Yeah, I mean, and it's nice to see, you know, and I think because we're so small and because I can speak for me since I'm from PG County, just so many people coming out of PG County alone, it's just like it's just ridiculous. I mean, yeah, Taraji, even her, like it's just so many people, and when they do get out there, blow up, we already know.
Mm-hmm.
Like we already know, like even Francis Tiafoe, like for tennis, you know, back in 2017, he played his match, or 2019, I forgot which year it was, but I was like, hey, PG County Zone, like, let's go 301. Like this is how how it is. And now everybody sees him now,
Mm-hmm.
but we already knew. Like we already knew. It was like, all right. I know it's gonna be a process for him to, of course, play tennis. You have like, Nadal and all them, Federer and all them. So like, we
Mm-hmm.
already know it's gonna be process, but we still gonna rep you. We still gonna, hey, you from PG 301? You're gonna do this all the time. Like, it's obnoxious. It's obnoxious. I mean, our flag, the Maryland flag, is obnoxious. I mean, the colors are obnoxious, but we're gonna rep that flag. Like, and it also too is like even the colors, like even I speak for Maryland, our flag is different from any other flag in the country. I will stand on that. Like nobody has two crests merging to make one flag. Most states have a blue background with a seal in the middle. Like that's how most of those flags are. Our
Mm-hmm.
flag is obnoxious and I love it. Like I will rep Maryland forever till the day I die. Like I will rep Maryland and I will rep PG County forever.
Okay. So let's thought about this. I'm gonna ask you a very tough question. Okay. You can only name four people on your Mount Rushmore from DMV. Who you picking?
Oh gosh. Oh, it's gonna be a tough
Mm-hmm.
one. um, I would put KD up there. I would definitely put KD there for sure.
It doesn't have
Um,
to be just sports either. It can be like celebrities, whoever.
yeah, yeah, I would definitely have KD there. Oh, I'm trying to figure out if I want to do Taraji or Regina Hall. I'm trying to figure out like
Ooh.
between those two who I want to put on there. That's a tough one. Ah, I would say because of age, I would do Regina Hall right now.
Mm,
Just right now, I would do Regina Hall. She's been around in the game for. I mean, Taraji has too, but Regina's just really been in the game.
mhm.
Um, I would definitely say Wale.
Mhm.
Um, Wale. I mean, you know, ain't it, Seinfeld. That album, Much About Nothing. Like,
Yes.
you cannot top that. Like,
Mhm.
dude, what he did with Pretty Girls and all that, just kind of putting Go Go on. I mean, and I think he made it more modern because,
Yeah.
of course, we know. Well, maybe not everybody even knows this, but um, you had Doing the Butt back in the '80s. That was like that first mainstream song that was go-go-ish. Everybody was dancing to that song. And then Nelly, Hot in Here, he actually sampled a go-go
Mm,
song for that, which
okay.
not everybody knows. That's a go-go sample from Chuck Brown back in the '70s. Um, but I think Wale just modernized it, and everybody was like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
So everybody was like, "Okay, this is Wale tying him to PG County." So like, yeah, that's definitely. And he's also relatable to us too in the DMV. Like I see him at the
Mm,
gas station. I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" Like that's how he was. Like he was living in the neighborhood before. I mean, before he moved, like he was in the neighborhood. Everybody saw him. So yeah, Wale is definitely my favorite. And then the fourth one, I do not know the fourth one. I am not sure about the fourth one. Oh, it's hard. Um, I am not sure about this fourth one. I don't know. I'm stumped.
I
I'm,
told you it's a tough question.
I know I'm stumped. Um, let me see. I might say I don't know. I'm not sure. Uh, I'm not sure. I would have to think. I don't know. I would have to think about that one. I would have to think about that one. That's a tough one. So many great people from here. I would say because of uh his different. I'll pick a different lane, so I'll pick Dave Chappelle for it.
Mm,
I'll probably pick Dave Chappelle. Um, yeah, I'll probably pick him. Um, but he just I don't know, like the Chappelle show. I mean, like ain't nobody doing what he was doing. Like who thought to do Clayton Bigsby? Like,
yeah.
like I don't know. And that's the other thing too. It's like I think for him, I think it's just funny for people in this area because comedy is just something that we are just good at because we just,
Mm,
you know, we came at each other all the time. We call it joning, but like we joned on each other all the time in high school. And it was like, if you can't get through this, you don't belong in PG County. Like that was just a
mm,
thing. So just looking at how Dave Chappelle just does his comedy, it's just like, oh yeah, this is another day for us. So
mhm.
creatively and just the way that he just delivers it. So yeah, I'll probably pick Dave Chappelle, but you probably have to multiply those Mount Rushmores because
Okay.
so many more people can be on there.
I would have to co-sign. I didn't know about Regina Hall, but now knowing that she's from there, I would probably have to agree with yours. Like the
Hmm.
simple fact that she did Boondocks and did both voices of Huey and Riley,
That's
and I didn't
King.
find that out until years later. Oh, King.
That's
Oh yeah.
King.
Oh,
Yeah, Regina Hall
for
did.
sure.
No, you're good. No, not I. People got their last names messed up all the time.
Yeah.
No, Hall did. She did. Think Like a Man. The most recent one. Think Like a Man. That was her.
Mm, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was her. And then she did a lot of other movies too. But yeah, um, I would say like because of her, Taraji came from her. Like I would
Yeah.
say like
Yeah.
yeah. So that's what I would that's what I would put it as. Yeah.
Yeah, y'all definitely have some legends to come up from there. So that's a. I told you it was a tough question. Like it was a lot of people you had
It's
to
just
decide
so
between.
many. I mean, even like from a producer standpoint, I mean, Pharrell, like Missy, like it's just I don't know. It's hard,
Hmm.
to pick. I mean, Pharrell and Missy, just the creative is just out of this world. I mean, Chris Brown, like it's just so many people. I mean, I know he's kind of hot water, but Trey Songz, like like it's just a lot of this different talent, that just I don't know. I'm still amazed by it.
Hmm.
Um, I'm still amazed by just the talent that's still coming out.
Hmm.
And I just feel like we're just not stopping. Because even I think there was a poll that just came out maybe last week. Maryland is still number one in boys and girls basketball.
Mm.
For recruits, and then football. Football is getting better. I think Maryland was at like I think they were like sixth, in churning out talent. So just for an area that's just so small, it's just remarkable. Like I'm not surprised, but then it's like wow, like we're still not stopping for a county that's just so small.
Yeah.
So I will always be obnoxious about PG County. It's like that. It's like that meme that like boy. I don't know if you saw that meme. It was like this boy. And he was like holding in like a cough or something like that. His
Oh yeah,
bank.
yeah, yeah.
That's me. Like tell me not to talk about PG County. I'm going to look just like that boy because it's so hard. They say New Yorkers are bad. PG County DMV, like we're terrible. Like we're terrible when it comes to that.
I mean, y'all kind of have a right to because y'all are like you said, you're underrated and you still up there talent wise. So like
Hmm.
you can go from each area of culture and say you arguably have the greatest or one of the greatest in each one of those areas. So it's like
Yeah, yeah,
you
we
kind of
do.
have a right to at the same time. So
We
I,
do.
you know,
We do. I would do it forever.
all right. So segueing to my next question, who is someone that in or around you know the game or let's say basketball because basketball podcast. So basketball specifically, or in your field that you feel like is like underrated. So here's an opportunity to give them their flowers and just say, hey, you know, from my point of view and what I've seen, this player, this coach, whoever, or another journalist or media personality, whoever, it's like they're a little underrated, or you just appreciate them so much you want to give them the flowers. So who is someone that you want to give that to?
Yeah, so many people that I've just looked up to, in this space. But I personally, I would give my flowers to Dawn Staley. I just think that she just embodies what it is like to be yourself and continue to be yourself despite what media says about you. And I mean, she's had to fight and is still fighting for a long time. Media has a perception of her that they wouldn't of white coaches. um, and she doesn't even do half of what they do. She's literally just her calm self. And unfortunately, I just feel like it follows her players, and I think it followed Asia, unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
because they're like, oh, look at this black team with a black coach. They're cultured, and that's just not what right now the WNBA is used to. And they're looking back at Dawn. That is why I feel Asia is in this position right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it's kind of like they don't have a choice, but they don't want to. That's just how I feel about it. But yeah, I mean, just Dawn just being herself, and I've met her quite often,
Mm-hmm.
and she's just the best person ever to talk to. But she's just very I mean, on the court, of course, she's fierce, but
Yeah.
she's very mild mannered. Just all she wants to do is coach and motivate. So she gets my flowers.
Yeah, I saw some posts one day. Some WNBA page posted like, "Is Dawn the greatest WNBA player turned coach?" And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, no, she's probably the greatest player turned coach, period. I don't care
Yeah.
what sport, I don't care what gender. She is the GOAT from A to B.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a debate, to be real with you. Like, as a player, she was Olympic. She did everything in college, everything in pro. Now she's coaching the number one team in the country. And like, come on, man. Like,
Exactly.
come on, man. Like, not too many people can say they were great as a player or as a coach, and she's been top tier in both of them. So
Right. Mm-hmm.
Dunn has all my respect. Like this,
And she's
I
not,
mean,
she's gonna talk to you. She takes the time out to do that. She's not, anal. I mean, she's just a great all around person. Because people who have that, they kind of don't talk to me, but
mhm.
she is just so down to earth, and it's amazing to see.
Yeah. I hope one day I can, get the opportunity to meet her and just be around her for a second because she seems like the type of person that just has a certain energy about her that you just can't help but gravitate towards too, and just
Yeah,
like respect.
yeah,
Like it's
she's
just,
very
I don't know.
warm.
Yeah, she's a warm light about her. It's just,
Yeah.
I don't know. So, um, I do have one more question for you before we get out of here. But before we do that, I need the listeners, if you're listening or watching, especially on YouTube, go ahead and just subscribe real quick. Just you watch on YouTube right now, just
Wait, wrong
subscribe. I know I get the best up with that almost every episode.
way.
Don't feel bad. The camera throws me off, so I stop trying sometimes. I get bold and try it, but I don't feel bad, so it throws me off too. But yeah, if you watching on YouTube, subscribe. If you're listening on Apple, Spotify, whoever, just do your thing. It's right there. Like you're listening, why not just follow through and just join the movement? You feel me? Um, so go ahead and look on social media. I'm BeBall Jones everywhere. It's BeBall Jones, and of course you can follow the lovely guest we have here, Miss Jazz, on Twitter, and on IG. You see it on the screen. Okay, so if not, I'm gonna have the link in the description below for my listeners. So go ahead and do that for me. And now for the final question. You've been around the game for a while and you've been blessed to see a lot of different perspectives, a lot of different views. You travel around a lot, due to your job. So what is something that you've learned about yourself throughout this process, or something that you've picked up and learned from the business or whatever that it makes sense in business, but you've been able to pull it out and apply it to your life now? So like in sports, we all have a coach or something, or a parent come to us and give us a little knowledge of the game. It's like that's still like I remember 13-year-old me getting that lesson, but I'm still remembering now. It's like what's something that you've learned throughout this process or about yourself throughout this process that you apply to your life to this day?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm a sponge. Um, you know, I never thought that I would pivot this much in my career. Um, and but I'm like, hey, let's go. This is what I wanted to do. This is the career path that I wanted to take, and sports is just so broad that you can just do it. You can do anything, and
Hmm.
I'm telling myself, okay, you don't want to write anymore. You got to pick something else. So you're gonna have to do it. You know, um, and I remember one time I had to do a volleyball tournament at Maryland, and it was like another part of town. And my mom, I told her, I was like, I don't know where this event is. I'm just going to give up because I can't find it. And my mother, I think I was walking on campus. I think it was Navy's campus, or it was Navy or Army's campus. And I called my mom back, and I'm like, Mom, can you come pick me back up? She was like, No, let's figure this out on your own. um, she's like, figure this out. And eventually I found, I mean, I had to ask about three different people where this was because it was in a nook and cranny athletic department on their campus.
Hmm.
So, had my mom turned around and picked me up, that's probably, well, I wouldn't say that probably would have been like my solution, but her just saying, no, I'm not gonna pick you up, figure this out yourself. It gave me that blueprint for my solutions figured out.
Hmm.
So that's what I did, and applied to school when I had to be on leave for that semester. I figured it out, made my own sports website, interview athletes, things like that. And then another thing I didn't mention was during the pandemic, I ain't had no money. So I'm like, what are you, what am I going to do? And I had my own baking business at the time, but I had to put on the
Mm.
back burner. Yeah, I had to put on the back burner because I was at ESPN. Once that happened, and unemployment, unemployment was taking forever everywhere. Um, so I was like, yeah. So for the time being, I'm just gonna bring this back. And I put some links on there on Twitter. And then after George Floyd happened, by Black, boom. So I put my link on there, and then I made good sales, really, really good sales, from that. So I'm like just thinking,
Mm.
just figure it out. If you want something, do it. So I'm like, I'm sitting here, I don't have any money, but then I'm like, okay, I have something that I could make money off of. Let me just try. So that's what I did. And now on social media, it's like, you want this job or do you want to be unemployed? Figure it out. Figure out how to do
Mm.
social media. Figure out how you're going to put this content together. Figure out how you're going to, be on camera for IG story covering, events. So, I just feel like figure it out has always been my motto, and it's worked. It may not, it's a leap. It's a leap of faith, but just still figuring it out has been my thing that I've learned the most. You figure it out, and then you can figure it out. So if you put your mind to it effectively.
Mm. I like that. So I don't think we can end it any better than that. So I appreciate you coming on. It's a
Thank
great
you.
talk. I enjoyed it. So
I like flowing stuff like this.
yeah, it's fun, man. So um, I know they enjoyed it too. It was a good one. So, but that's it. That's a wrap. Appreciate you guys for listening. Make sure you follow her. You know, let her know how great she was, and let her know that you had fun listening to her. So, but that's it. Hopefully, see you guys next week. But see you all.